voice can break the dark. A single spark ignites the heart. But if we turn when justice calls, the chains we forge will bind us all. When truth is silenced, when lies take hold, the cost is freedom, the soul grows cold. No one stands tall while another must fall. Freedom for one depends on freedom for all. We're mavericks of freedom, rebels in the fight, defending every voice, defending every right. For the moment we falter, the moment we stall, we lose our own freedom when we let others fall. You can't stand free while others kneel. When justice fades, it's freedom they steal. An innocent condemned, a crime unspoken, and with it the bond of liberty is broken. No tyrant rules without our consent. Oppression thrives where silence is spent. Stand for the weak, the silence the small, or freedom will crumble for us all. We're mavericks of freedom, guardians of the light, fighting for the truth, for what is just and right. For the rights of one are the rights of all. We rise or we fall by answering the call. Even those we may oppose deserve the rights we all uphold. For if we deny them what is fair, we build our own prison in despair. The fight's not easy, it never will be, but justice for one is the key to be free. We stand as mavericks, together we strive, defending the rights that keep freedom alive. We're mavericks of freedom, rebels in the fight, upholding every truth, protecting every right. When one is oppressed, we're all in the thrall. Freedom for one depends on freedom for all. So take a stand, let your courage rise. Defend the truth, don't compromise. For the soul of the world, the writing's on the wall. Freedom for one depends on freedom for all.
Greetings, Mavericks and new viewers. Tonight, direct and live from the Maverick News Network World Studios. This is Maverick News with Rick Walker.
Okay, we're here. We're having a little bit of technical trouble tonight, but we're with you, and we're about to go live now to Woolwich, Ontario. The location indicated in the video description is Kitchener, Ontario, but more accurately, Woolwich. So the Conservative campaign of Pierre Poilievre venturing into a smaller community in Ontario tonight. Obviously, Ontario, vote rich, seat rich. You need to succeed. Do well in Ontario in order to win the election. The same with Quebec. You can't win it just with Western Canada, as everybody knows, or the Maritimes. Now, the audio will be coming up in a moment. He has already been introduced by his wife, and he's taking the stage now. We're just waiting for the music to end so we don't get hit with a copyright strike. And we have the top news stories of the day lined up for you as well tonight. Bear with me. Here we go. I'm monitoring. Here we go. Here we go.
Kitchener, Waterloo, who's going to vote for a change? Who's going to vote to axe some taxes? Who's going to vote to build some homes you can actually afford? Who's going to vote to stop the crime for a change? And who's going to vote to put Canada first for a change? And we have just the team to do it. Look at the incredible, patriotic, local roster of candidates who are fighting for this community and all of our country and ready to bring a change across the land. We've got Matt Strauss, Connie Cody, Doug Trevlevin, Kelly DeRitter, Gervir Kara, Wasim Botros, and Leanne Rood. Give it up for the Change team. What an incredible crowd we have here. How many people are here for a change? And why is everybody here? We want a change. We need a change for Canada. He's got the Team Canada jersey on there. That's a very good reason to be here. Give it up for this guy. And we need a change now more than ever here in this incredible entrepreneurial community. One of the most inventive, innovative, entrepreneurial places anywhere on planet Earth. Over with the farmers, the engineers, the tradespeople. This is literally, yeah, the tradespeople, how is This is one of the greatest entrepreneurial and technological centers anywhere in the world. With people like these, we can reverse the lost Liberal decade and make Canada the richest country on earth for a change. But it has been a hard 10 years, has it not? Yep. Everything costs more. We've had the worst inflation in 4 decades, and it's back on the rise again. Housing costs have more than doubled. In fact, you can actually buy a castle in Scotland or Sweden for lower than the cost of a house in Kitchener. That's a true story. Homes have gone up 50% faster in Canada than in the US, and they cost 50% more, despite the fact that Americans have more land, have less land, more people, and more money. Somehow they pay significantly less for their homes. Canada has the second slowest building permits in the world, stopping our incredible entrepreneurs and workers from building things. The economy has been shrinking for 10 long years, well before the tariffs ever struck. In fact, we've had the worst economic growth under the Liberals of any G7 country. $500 billion has left our country and headed south. Shootings, gang killings, overdose deaths overtake our once safe communities. And now, with all the rising costs and crime and an economy falling under America's thumb, these Liberals think they deserve a 4th term in power. What do you think? That's the choice. Either we're going to have a 4th term of Liberals, or we will vote for a change to elect a new Conservative government to axe taxes, build homes, unleash our economy, and put Canada first. C'est ça le choix. Après le décennie perdue, des coûts et la criminalité qui augmente, une économie qui tombe sur la dépendance des Américains, est-ce qu'on va les élire pour un 4e mandat ou est-ce qu'il faut choisir un nouveau gouvernement pour faire changement en coupant les taxes et impôts, en libérant nos ressources, en bâtissant les maisons pour nos jeunes et en mettant le Canada d'abord pour faire changement? C'est ça le choix. Now, the people of Kitchener-Waterloo work hard. They put in long hours. They put their shoulder to the wheel. They sacrifice to raise their kids. They scrimp and save and cut their budgets daily to try and find a way to pay their bills. Cody was telling me many of these people have been in Cambridge have been crying on her shoulder, telling stories of how stressed they and their families are, just trying to make ends meet. It's time that we put those people first for a change. It's time that we became a country that rewarded hard work. Now, right now, Canada is a country that punishes work. It's this fine you pay for the crime of working hard, income tax. The more you work, the more you pay. I love this meme. They have this kid who's crying in a park on his dad's shoulder. He just asked his dad, what is an income tax for? And dad says it's the same as your report card, except the opposite. The harder you work, the worse you do. And right now, Canadians spend more on taxes, liberal taxes, than they do on food, clothing, and shelter combined. The average family tax bill has gone up $10,000 in 10 years. This after they promised they would cut middle-class taxes. We know we can never count on Liberals to tell the truth. They never met a tax. That's how we're going to pay off the national debt. We'll turn this into an auction hall. I only promise the things I can deliver. That's the truth. You know what I mean? We do the math. You will hold me to it, and I will be held to it, and we'll get it done. Because we did it before, and we'll do it again. I love you too. Thank you very much. I appreciate you backing me up. And I also love our auto workers, and I want to encourage Canadians to buy Canadian-made automobiles. That's why our government will remove the GST from Canadian-made cars and trucks. And then there's the carbon tax. Now, the Liberals want you to forget all about the carbon tax. They brought it in place. For 7 years, they charged it to you. They told you that the whole planet would go up in flames if you didn't pay more to fill up your minivan. They literally said anybody who was against the carbon tax was an arsonist. These were their words. And then Mark Carney, he did have one disagreement. He said that the carbon tax Trudeau put in was not high enough. It needed to go even higher. And then 28 days before the election, they hid it from the gas pump in the hope that you would forget about it for long enough to give them the fourth term so that they can put the tax back in place higher than ever before, and this time without a rebate. What's worse is Mr. Carney is also promising to increase the carbon tax on Canadian industry. This is one area where he and Trump share something in common. Both of them want to tax Canadian industries. Trump with tariffs, Carney with carbon taxes. I want neither. And that is why I will put Canada first for a change, and I will axe the tax for everyone, for everything, for good, for real, for a change. We will axe a lot of taxes, in fact. And here in this community, we have a lot of high-tech companies, but many of them have struggled to stay in this country. The Liberals give these handouts to foreign multinationals to develop IP, intellectual property, and inventions, and as soon as those things become profitable, those companies take the money out of Canada. The high income tax often drives our young graduates from Waterloo to leave our country for the States. So we get all the costs and the Americans get all the benefit. Meanwhile, we have very high taxes on investment. So somebody takes a risk, they mortgage their house, try to start up a risky high-tech company that will create a breakthrough for our economy, and what happens? They get punished for it with high capital gains tax. Many try to avoid paying the tax by just holding on to an old, sleepy asset rather than selling it to invest in something newer and better and more exciting for our economy. This is the lock-in effect, and it holds back our tech sector in Kitchener-Waterloo. We've lost $500 billion of net investment to the United States in the lost Liberal decade. I want to bring it back home, and that's why I've announced the Canada First reinvestment tax cut. Zero capital gains if you reinvest all the money right here in Canada. This will be like economic rocket fuel, propelling our economy forward, encouraging people to invest in home building, new technologies, factories, assembly lines, conveyor belts, CNC machines, heavy equipment, the stuff that the machines, the tools and technology that it takes to generate high-paying jobs for our people. We want to bring that investment back home, and we want to favor Canadian investment. You know, today we learned that Mark Carney's company has been stashing its cash in the Cayman Islands. Now, we already knew about Bermuda. Now there's a second place. And so while he advised Trudeau to raise taxes on all of you, as Trudeau's economic advisor, he was stashing his corporate cash out of reach from Canadians. A Conservative government will put you and our country first. We will crack down on offshore tax havens to force everyone to pay their fair share so you can pay less. Mr. Carney's Liberal model works for the elites. They get rich by making you poor. They pay less and make you pay more. No wonder housing has become so unaffordable. You know, the housing costs have literally doubled under the Liberals. Double the rent, double the needed down payment, double the mortgage payment required to own the average home. Housing costs have increased faster in Canada than in any other G7 country. Toronto, well, it's the entire Liberal gang, though. It's the same Liberal MPs, same Liberal ministers, same Liberal strategists making the same Liberal promises. They're all accountable for what they've done to housing. And now, after doubling housing costs, Mark Carney is doubling down on the same promises Trudeau made on housing, building fantastical new bureaucracies in Ottawa that they claim are going to magically build government-run housing factories that will then provide you with a government home that you can be a tenant in. We don't want that. We want Canadians to have the dream of home ownership. But what's standing in the way? Why is housing so much more expensive here in Canada, given that we have so much land to build on? The answer is government. A third of the cost of every new home today in Ontario is direct taxes. Roughly another third is indirect government costs, delays, permitting, zoning, consultants, lawyers, lobbyists, and countless other expenses that all get passed on to the home buyer. So, my plan is to axe taxes, cut red tape, and build homes. And that means starting by axing the federal sales tax on new homes to save you up to $65,000. But we're not stopping there. We know that municipal taxes are very high. The government has been rewarding municipalities who jack up these taxes and block homes from being built. I'll do precisely the opposite. I will require municipalities speed up permits, free up land, and cut development charges as a condition of getting federal infrastructure money. But there's more. That's the stick. If they don't permit 15% more home building per year, then I will be rolling back their federal money. The bureaucrats will then be getting paid the way home builders and real estate agents get paid, per home, right? So that will incentivize them to speed it up. But I'll also offer a carrot. And here's my commitment to all the municipalities. For every dollar you cut in building taxes, I will reimburse 50 cents from the federal government with the goal of bringing down the total tax burden on each new home by $100,000 so that you can afford a place to live for a change. So the choice in the next election, after rising costs for food and homes, is whether the Liberals deserve a fourth term or whether it's time for a change to elect a new Conservative government that will axe taxes, build homes, and deliver an affordable life for all of you. That's the choice in this election for a change. You know, the great Bob Stanfield said we have to stop stopping and start starting in this country. And that's what we have to do, not just with housing, but with our resources. We have the third biggest supply of oil, the first biggest supply of uranium, the biggest supply of potash, the biggest oceanic coastline in all of the world. We have the fifth biggest supply of lithium. We have so many resources that we should easily be the richest people in the world, but the Liberals want to leave it in the ground. Mark Carney actually said 80% of our oil will have to stay in the ground. The Liberals brought in C-69, the no development law that means it now takes 17 years to get a mine approved. That's the second slowest in the OECD, 3 times as long as it is in the US and in the UK. Meanwhile, they blocked 2 major pipelines, and not a single one of the 18 proposed natural gas liquefaction plants has actually been completed. The only one that's close was approved by the earlier Conservative government. That is why our wealth is leaving, and that is why we are now so hopelessly dependent on the Americans. We have to give them all our resources, and often at massive discounts. It's time for a change, my friends. That is why we will pass the Bring Home Our Jobs plan. Here's how it will work. We will repeal the No Development Law C-69 and replace it with a new law. Oh, lights out. I think it's because the Liberal energy policy is so bad we have no more electricity. We're surviving on a generator. So, anyway, did someone want to take a nap or something? I didn't put you to sleep. Oh, there we are. Let there be light. There we go. There we go. Let there be light. Well, listen, the reality is that we have the ability, if we repeal this law, to approve major projects within 6 months so that we can have, by the way, I'm going to be granting a permit to unlock the Ring of Fire right here in Ontario. We'll help build the road to get there. We'll also approve natural gas liquefaction plants to liquefy our gas, ship it overseas. Instead of giving it to the Americans for a third of the overseas price, we'll sell it to the Asians, sell it to the Europeans, break the world's dependency on dirty dictators, and turn dollars for dictators into paychecks for our people in this country. Then there's the production cap. It's actually a cut. They want to cut the amount of oil and gas Canada can produce while allowing the Americans to produce as much as they want. Once again, handicapping our own economy and putting our people at a disadvantage. I will get rid of the production cap and I will replace it with something better. It's called the shovel-ready zones. These will be areas where we will draw a big circle around territories that are appropriate for nuclear plants, pipelines, mines, LNG plants, data centers, factories, and we will give the permits out before anyone even applies for them. So businesses can show up, get to work, get building with the fastest building permits in the world. We're going to cut the federal red tape, the number of rules imposed by the federal government on our small businesses by 25%. And we'll impose a rule that says that every time the government brings in a new rule, they have to get rid of 2 existing ones. So that over time, the red tape will melt away and we will only have the regulations we truly need to protect our environment and our public safety. But we need to bring home these jobs, but if we have these jobs in Canada, we need people who know how to do them. And right now, we're putting everything, all of our eggs in the university and white-collar basket. Now, I've got nothing wrong with university. I loved my time there. I benefited greatly from it, and I encourage everyone who wants to go to go. But we have to give equal support to the trades. We need boots, not suits. We have any trades workers here? Any trades workers? Wow, the trades are out big time, eh? I love it. I love it when I see these guys coming straight from work. This guy, look at him, straight from work, eh? I love it. It's beautiful. What do you do, sir? Truck driver. Give it up for the truckers. If you got it, a truck brought it, right? That's how it works. You can't. What do we got over here? What's this? We got a hard hat over there. What do you? He's a home builder. We need more like that. Fantastic. Looking good. But what trade are you? You can't be all the trades. I know you build houses, but are you a carpenter? You're a framer. Okay, that's important. You can't have a house without a frame. It'll come crashing down pretty quick. What else do we got over here? She's an aluminum. You're an aluminum roofer. All right, you know where to get your aluminum roofing products. This young lady. Incredible. These are brilliant people. But the problem is, we got one more over here. What do we got? This guy. Heavy machinery operator. And this gentleman here. And you, sir? All right, heavy machinery and flooring and drywall. Give them a round of applause. The trades workers. We're going to partner with our unions and with our employers on 350,000 training places to get our young people into apprenticeships. We're going to bring back the $4,000 apprenticeship grant. And that's not all. We're going to bring tax fairness. Our traveling trades workers can only write off $4,000 when they travel across the country. Some of them do 20 or 30 of these big trips every single year, and they can't write off more than $4,000. Meanwhile, the CEOs can write off the full cost of their private jets. This is not fair. That's why we're going to pass the Tax Fairness for Traveling Trades Workers Act, allowing you to write off the full cost of your food, transportation, accommodation to go from one job to the next. And I'm going to give a present, a big, beautiful gift to every high school principal. They're going to show up at work one day, and there's going to be a box the size of this stage. And when they open the box, they're going to find a module for every licensed trade so that they can get their teenage students started learning a trade well before they even get their high school diploma. It's going to be amazing. And so the choice in this election is, after the lost Liberal decade of driving jobs away and resources, keeping them in the ground, whether we should give the Liberals a fourth term or whether it's time for a change to train up our youth, to get our resources to market and bring home our jobs. But we want these jobs to be in safe neighborhoods. So we have to stop the crime for a change. Yep. Is there any crime here? Yeah. Out of control. Catch and release criminal justice. Not a week goes by that I don't meet a grieving family member or someone who has been personally violated or victimized, and almost every single time it's by someone who was released on early bail or parole. The good news is we don't have a lot of criminals in Canada. The bad news is they're very productive. A small group of criminals do almost all the crime because they're released almost the same day that they're arrested. Police officers will tell you they often arrest the same person 3 times in a day. In Vancouver, they had to arrest the same 40 offenders 6,000 times. That's 150 arrests per offender per year. These guys basically have to be doing crime all day, every day. It's like a full-time job. And, you know, this is hard work. You got to be up at the crack of dawn, robbing a bank, selling fentanyl by 2 in the afternoon, stealing a car by 4, if you're going to be in jail every 2 days. And these guys aren't unionized. They have no benefits. They do get housing. They stay at the Hotel California. They check out, but they never really leave. Right? That's how it works for the criminals in Canada today. This is the result of the Liberal law C-75, which requires judges release criminals at the, quote, earliest opportunity under, quote, the least onerous conditions. So the judges have no choice but to put them back on the street. And then there's Liberal Bill C-5, which allows house arrest. So if you've stolen 100 cars, you can serve your sentences at home, watching Netflix, or playing Grand Theft Auto. And then there's Liberal Bill C-83, which allowed Paul Bernardo out of a maximum security penitentiary into a medium security penitentiary with relative freedom. My friends, we cannot afford and we cannot risk a 4th Liberal term of catch and release chaos. What we need is to stop the crime for a change with a real Conservative plan. And I'm about to tell you what it is. 1, we will repeal the catch and release laws C-75, house arrest law C-5, the Paul Bernardo get out of jail free card bill C-83, gone, gone, and gone. We will bring in mandatory jail time for human traffickers and for gun smugglers, life sentences. We will also pass a 3 strikes you're out law. Here's how it works. 3 serious offenses, you're never again eligible for bail, parole, probation, or house arrest. You have a minimum of 10 years and a maximum life sentence. 3 strikes, you're out. 3 strikes and you're out. That is how it will work. We will lock up the most serious offenders. Now, the Liberals say, well, you have to build all these jails to accommodate them. Well, actually, it might surprise you to learn this, but the last time we did a big crime crackdown like this was under Prime Minister Stephen Harper. Yeah, great guy. Terrific man. And guess what? Crime went down by 25%. But you know what else went down? The number of people in jail. Now, you might say, well, how does that add up? More tougher sentences, wouldn't that mean more people in jail? What actually happened was, first of all, the repeat offenders, they're in and out all day anyway. So you have to reserve a room for them. Right now. What we're changing is that they're just not going to be going out from that revolving door because it's going to be turned into an iron gate. But more than that, The small-time offenders, the ones just getting into a life of crime, they do the math. They figure out real quick that it's not worth getting caught because they're going to be in jail for a very long time. So you know what? They go out and do something else with their lives. That's how you reduce crime. You deter it. It works. It's proven. And then there's the drugs. Brutal. You have a drug problem here? Yeah. What is it? Is it fentanyl? Meth? What's that? Second worst region for violent crime, says Connie Cody. Well, the reason is that these drugs are extremely powerful. You think of fentanyl. It takes 2 milligrams to kill a person with fentanyl. It's almost like a grain of sugar, and you can stop someone's lungs. And it is 100 times more addictive than heroin. When I was a kid growing up, I was terrified of heroin. Our parents scared the hell out of us. Heroin's the worst thing you could ever imagine. This stuff is 100 times worse than heroin, just to put it into perspective. People got hooked on it because pharmaceutical companies mass-marketed opioids as a safe way to relieve pain and feel better. They profited in the billions, even though they knew they were killing people. And now the government's policy is to perpetuate their profits and everyone else's misery by paying for what they call a safe supply of hydromorphone, giving out opioids to the population, which then gets resold to kids, and the profits used to buy more dangerous fentanyl. Meanwhile, they got rid of mandatory prison sentences for mass marketers and producers of these drugs, so they keep getting out on the streets. And finally, 99% of shipping containers don't get any inspection at all, so it's very easy to get it into Canada. There's no way Mark Carney will ever stand up against the Chinese government, which is allowing these ingredients to come here because, of course, his company owes $250 million to a Chinese state-backed bank. We need someone who will stand up for our people and put an end to this chaos. We will ban the hard drugs, stop giving out tax-funded opioids. We will bring in life sentences for anyone who sells more than 40 milligrams of fentanyl. And we will redirect the funds to treatment and recovery, rehabilitation. We know it works. Places like the Oak Foundation or the Harvest House in both Ottawa and in Moncton, where they take young people off the streets, give them detox, counseling, group therapy, physical exercise, yoga, job placements, transitional housing, reconnect them with their families, get them back on their feet and turn their lives around. I had a chance to meet with some of these incredible recovering addicts. And I've sat down with them in Moncton and I said, first of all, there's one thing you need to know about yourself. You have a superpower because you have gone from the bottom of the valley and you're getting back up to the top of the mountain. And when you meet people in your future travels, they will never be as strong as you are. They will never have overcome what you overcame. And what I need from you, so I'm here to ask you for a favor, I said. I need you to get better so that you can go out on the street and reach down and grab someone who's lying on the pavement, pick them up, give them a chance to turn their life around so that they can do the same thing. And one by one, we can end this crisis and save our brothers, our sisters, our friends, and our neighbors. And we will sue every pharmaceutical company that profited off this disaster to make them pay for the treatment and recovery. We lost 50,000 people to this crisis. We are going to offer treatment in their honor to 50,000 survivors. This is how we turn things around, my friends. A real plan to get people back on their feet and become contributing, productive members of our society. We have to start focusing on providing hope rather than attacking our own citizens. You know, for example, let's take the border. As I said, they only inspect 1% of the shipping containers. No wonder so many drugs, guns, stolen cars, and worse come in and out of our country. We're going to secure these incredible high-powered scanners that look right into the shipping container to figure out what's inside. Like, I'm just a simple boy from the prairies, but I've got this idea. So imagine this. You've got a manifest that says that in the shipping container are widgets. But then you look at the scanner that the Poilievre government has bought you, and it shows that it's a beamer. You say, oh, maybe we should pull that box aside. And you pull the car out, you call the guy who's matched to the VIN, you say, were you planning to send your beamer to Turkey today? And he will say, no, I got up this morning and my beamer was missing from the driveway, so I couldn't go to work. Well, we've got it over at the Port of Montreal. You can come pick it up, and we're going to go to the house of the guy who booked the shipping container and say, you're under arrest. You have a right to remain silent. Pretty simple idea. I don't know. We're going to remove high-priced consultants and back-office bureaucrats and put the money into frontline 2,000 more CBSA officers to protect our borders, watchtowers to scan the frontier, and keep us safe. And you know how we're going to pay for that? Thank you very much. This guy makes some really wonderful suggestions, eh? What a character. What a character. You know, I had a different idea that I think is going to be even more popular, and that is to reverse the wasteful, multi-billion-dollar gun grab that targets our hunters and our sport shooters. And make no mistake, spread the message far and wide. If the Liberals get back in, all your hunting rifles will be banned. Carney was out there again today, reiterating that he wants to target licensed, law-abiding, trained, and tested firearms owners, the hunters. He doesn't understand that it's not Grandpa Joe's hunting rifle that's shooting up our downtown communities. I want to protect Canadians from criminals. The Liberals want to protect turkeys from hunters. We need to protect Canadians from turkeys as well, I think. But the reality is, if you've got a possession and acquisition license, anybody got a pal? Any pals in the room? These are the law-abiding people. If you're going to rob a bank, you don't stop to get a gun license on the way to do it. Every single one of you who put up your hand, you're vetted by the RCMP, you've gone through extensive training, you have to do safe storage, there you go, the police database system checks you every single night. Why would we waste billions of dollars of tax money and countless hours of police time going after the good people? Let's go after the bad guys for a change. Let's put the criminals in jail. And let's keep our country and our borders safe. But to be a safe and strong country, we have to rebuild the great Canadian Armed Forces. Any veterans in the hall tonight? Yes, give it up for our veterans, everybody. Way to go, guys. We will reinvest and reinvigorate our military. We will fill the vacancies, up the recruitment, by giving our young people a reason to join again. We will rearm our forces and restate and clarify their mission. We'll buy 4 massive Arctic icebreakers to reclaim the control of our icy northern waters from the Russians and the Chinese. Poseidon aircraft will be flying over those waters, looking down and detecting, and if necessary, destroying foreign vessels that are in our waters. We will have fighter jets, new runways. We'll double the size of the first patrol of the Canadian Arctic Rangers, our eyes and ears on the ground. And we will build the first Northern Arctic base in Canada since the Cold War, CFB Iqaluit. And our military will be guided by a warrior culture, not a woke culture. They will pass that warrior culture down to the cadets, who will also be expanded, so we can get our young people learning about service, punctuality, outdoor survivalism, riflery, and countless other skills that only can be passed down from the older generation to the next. This is a great way to bring our people together in a spirit of unity and service to our country. We will unite our people from across all backgrounds, and we will fix the broken immigration system that the Liberals have ruined over the lost Liberal decade. They've been pursuing this idea called the Century Initiative, which seeks to increase our population to 100 million people. And if you want an idea of what that kind of massive, uncontrolled increase in population looks like, look at the chaos that has happened in the Kitchener-Waterloo region as a result of the massive fraud that the Liberals have encouraged in the international student program. Now, let's be clear. These are good kids. They were just coming here because they did what the government told them to do. Most of them are hardworking, decent people. But you can't add people 4 times faster than you add homes for very long, or pretty quick, you're going to run out of places for people to live. Same with jobs and healthcare. So we will go back to having the best immigration system in the world. We will reject the Century Initiative entirely, and we will cap immigration so that our population never outgrows homes, healthcare, and jobs. And we're going to uphold our history. We need to have a common sense of where we came from, because if you don't know where you're coming from, you'll never figure out where you're going. If you don't understand history, you're condemned to repeat it. Our young people should be encouraged to celebrate all the great things about this country. Sure, we have an imperfect past, but we don't fix that by tearing it all down. We need to keep our statues high, and we should add new statues for the unsung heroes. We need to recognize, now more than ever, the vision of an East-West nation called Canada that was dreamt up and brought into existence by the great John A. Macdonald, our first Prime Minister. And not only that, we need to bring back the heroes of history. Terry Fox, the famous 5, our veterans, to the Canadian passport. So I got a question for all of you. Are you all going to show up and vote for this change? Are you going to tell your neighbors and your family to vote for this hope and this change? You're going to vote to bring back the Canadian promise. You're going to vote for the hope of a better life for your kids. You're going to vote for the future to be brighter than the past, to turn the page on the dark, lost Liberal decade so that we can once again be a self-reliant, sovereign people that stands on its own 2 feet, where we trade with each other, build homes for our youth, honor our past, protect our borders, stand up for the vulnerable, and look forward with optimism under our proud Canadian flag. We are a nation, not of tax collectors and toll masters, of gatekeepers and grandees, of rulers and rule makers. No, we are a nation of entrepreneurs and explorers, of artists and adventurers, of workers and warriors, of pioneers and patriots. What binds us together is the Canadian promise that hard work gets you a great life in a beautiful, affordable home on a safe street, protected by brave troops under a proud flag for a change. Canada first, let's bring it home!
Ah, yes. Yeah, I know my microphone must be muted, right? Yes, thank you for calling to tell me. Bye. Yeah, microphone was muted. So where are we at? Sorry about that, folks. The pretty good crowd there in Kitchener-Waterloo, actually Woolwich, Ontario. Pretty much the same speech from night to night tonight, and actually that some variations tonight. Did anybody hear what that woman shouted when the crowd erupted into applause and he laughed when he said, "How are we going to pay for it?" And she said something. I couldn't make it out. Did anybody hear what that was? I couldn't hear it. I even rewound, and I still couldn't make it out. Anyway, probably not that important, but I was curious about it. Anybody? No, I'm not seeing any response yet. Well, if you know, let me know. So we have other stories to dig into tonight. And I should be asking you too. I mean, how much of this kind of coverage do you guys want? With the election on, there will be a rally pretty much every night between now and election day. And we can carry them and carry them and carry them if you want to see them. I'm not sure if that's what we should be doing. Any thoughts in the chat on that tonight? How extensive do you want this coverage? I'm echoing now. Yeah, Dragons, she shouted about the drug problems. Yeah, I guess. I don't know. Not sure. Let me just bring this audio up here. I'm just going to check to see. I'm echoing now? Oh, I see what it is. Okay. Stupid microphone. Hang on. It's the wrong microphone. The drug problems. Let me just take a break. I'll be right back. I'll fix this stupid audio problem, which just keeps persistent. It just keeps coming back and coming back. I'll fix it. Be right.
Maverick News. Fighting for freedom. Greetings, brave Mavericks. Our quest for truth continues. We go beyond fake news. Together we expose propaganda. Together we pull others out of rabbit holes. We are maverick thinkers. We are all unique individuals, defenders of individual rights and freedoms, credible, trusted, grounded in reality. Maverick News, Maverick News. Defending free speech, Donate at freedomreporters.com. Do it now. Tomorrow may be too late. Maverick News. The world is watching.
Okay, I'm back. That should have fixed it. Yeah. Linda says, yeah, Johnny Dragon. Yeah, Paul says, Rick, your sound is screwed. I hope it's better now. I think it should be. Yes. Yeah, I have the microphone connected properly now. The computer just kicks out and loses communication with this microphone on its own. It's possessed. But we have it fixed. Okay, so other stories for the night. Stock market still in chaos. The major U.S. Stock indexes dropped sharply today. Again, because of the chaos surrounding the tariff talk and the tariffs themselves. They rallied back yesterday. A historic rally, actually. Massive upswing. And today, people kind of still, what was the word Donald Trump used yesterday? Queasy. They're getting a little bit queasy. They're still pretty queasy, Donald. So much so that the markets tumbled again today. Tech-heavy stocks down. The NASDAQ Composite Index hit hardest, down about over 7%. The S&P 500 fell a total of 6.3%. It's up and down like a yo-yo. It's not good at all for people. We're going to be coming back to Mark Carney shortly too, because he is under fire tonight for possible connections to China. But I do want to touch on this stock market stuff, the tariffs, all that talk, because it ties not only into the election, but possibly the very existence of our country. And here's Bernie Sanders on CNN, just going to town on Trump. A lot of talk out there about possible insider trading. And I think you'd have to be a little naive to think that there aren't some people who are cashing in big time on this stock market roller coaster ride. Here's Bernie.
Does that announcement that he gave cover to anybody who did buy stocks?
Well, what it does do, look, if you know 2 hours earlier that the stock market's going to go, what are you going to do? You're going to buy a hell of a lot of stock. You can invest in the stock market. But it's not only that. I mean, you got a president of the United States who is now working to give government cover to crypto, and whose family is involved in crypto. Makes money by selling coins, crypto coins. Anybody can contribute, which is a direct line to the president. So, you know, I have serious problems about all that.
Does that announcement?
Yeah, and if they're not doing that, they're literally promoting electric vehicles on the White House lawn. You should buy these cars. They're awesome. EVs. And man, have you noticed the way that everything has been turned literally on its head? Used to be, it was the lefties, right? The environmentalists who were the progressives, who were all out there praising Elon Musk. It's all progressives, basically, especially in California, who have been buying Teslas. And now those same people are the ones attacking Elon, burning his cars, and the dealerships. Well, maybe not exactly the same people, but you get my point. Strange. Politics is a strange game. Here's AOC. Yeah, I don't know. I haven't heard this clip yet, but she's also talking about possible corruption.
About market manipulation on the back of Donald Trump's
Absolutely. Absolutely. I have many questions. I'm very curious as to some of the discussions that were happening at the NRCC dinner, the Trump speech the night before this tariff announcement. I'm very interested in the May 15th disclosure deadline for members of Congress and what members of Congress, Republican or Democrat, were trading the day before and the morning of the tariff announcement. And I'm very interested in tracking some of the communications and who was communicating with whom in the 48 hours preceding.
What should the next step be, do you think?
Pardon?
What should the next step be, do you think?
Well, there are a couple of next steps. The most obvious and clear next step, I believe, is moving to the floor the insider trading ban for members of Congress. Now, of course, that is challenging to do when many of the people who would be subject to that.
Yeah. That's where the clip ends. There's more to be said about that, though, for sure. Now, with regard to these tariffs, Doug Ford, also on CNN today, and he says that he is shocked that Canada was not exempted the way other trading partners with the United States were. I'm not that shocked. Not really. Not at all, in fact. Because this isn't really what people think it is.
Remains in effect. Joining us now is Doug Ford, the Premier of Ontario and one of Canada's most outspoken critics of President Trump's trade war. Premier, thanks so much for joining us. Were you surprised that the White House didn't pause tariffs on Canada, perhaps our closest friend and ally, as it did with several other countries, several of whom are not necessarily close friends or allies?
Well, first of all, thanks for having me on, Wolf. And yeah, we were shocked that we weren't part of the group per se. And you know, number one customer. We're both each other's number one customer, and we need to get through this and bring certainty back to the people of the United States and Canada. Certainty to the markets, as you mentioned. The Dow is down, the S&P is down because there's still uncertainty. I know it took a little bump up yesterday, but the reality is a tariff on Canada is a tax on Americans, and that's the last thing we want to see to the American people.
We're showing our viewers the numbers right now. Markets not doing well. The Dow Jones Industrials down, 1,126 points, at least right now. Last month, the Premier, Canada placed tariffs on a variety of U.S. goods, and Canadians, long among, as I keep saying, America's closest and most loyal allies, have vowed to fight back. Do you feel Canada's decision to strike back has made President Trump more punitive toward Canada?
Well, I'm not too sure if that's a situation, but in saying that, I always say we love our American neighbors. We truly do. We didn't start this. President Trump aimed at Canada and the rest of the world for the most part, and we just need to get rid of these tariffs. We'll drop our tariffs tomorrow if President Trump drops the tariffs. We always believe in the AMCAN fortress, working together, make the two strongest nations in the world. That's what we want to do.
Could you see Canada, Premier, actually rolling back those tariffs on the U.S. as an olive branch to the Trump administration?
Well, as long as we know the tariffs are going to be dropped against Canada as well. If we have a mutual understanding, if they feel comfortable with us going first, by all means. But we need insurance that their President Trump's going to drop those tariffs shortly after we do.
This week, I know, Premier, you unveiled an $11 billion in tax deferments and rebates to help workers and businesses hurt by the Trump tariffs. How much have the tariffs hurt everyday Canadians?
Well, they're at a fever pitch right now. 40 million Canadians at a fever pitch, focused on every piece of news coming across CNN and other broadcasts. It's very, very important. We're very passionate about this. And now I'll give you a couple examples. We ship in, we do trade. We ship in about $6.5 billion of steel, but we don't make steel beams. Steel beams all come from the U.S. and other areas around the world. Now we're going to go out and start making steel beams. The beer cans, we don't make the beer cans. We ship the aluminum in the U.S. Company prints it and converts it. That's $1 billion industry. We're onshoring back into Ontario. So it's not good for both sides of the border. We'd rather just leave everything alone. Things seem to be working, and just build a stronger AMCAN fortress, American-Canadian fortress, put a ring around it.
Yeah, let's see if that happens. The Trump administration, Premier, says 15 countries have made what they describe as explicit offers regarding potential trade deals. Do you know if Canada is negotiating right now with the United States, with the White House?
Not right now, we aren't. Hopefully we can get back to the table and continue negotiating. That's what we want to do. Let's sit down at the table. Let's move forward, and it's going to benefit both countries. We're both our number one trading partners. I always say we're the number one customer to the U.S., and the U.S. is the number one customer for Canada, and we share the same values.
Pamela has a question for you, Premier.
Yeah, I'm wondering what the implications are with this back and forth over trade with the U.S. and Canada in terms of areas outside of trade, such as national security, intelligence sharing between the two countries. Has it put a strain on that at all?
No, actually, they're working hand in hand, no matter if it's an intelligence sharing, NORAD, or even our border. Our law enforcement works hand in hand with the U.S. law enforcement. They will always be partners, and at the highest level of the intelligence bureaus, they're working together.
Premier, one quick final question before I let you go. I've got a lot of friends, including some family, who live in Ontario and Toronto, for example, and I'm hearing that a lot of Canadians are now reluctant to even come to the United States, to go to Florida, for example, where a lot of the Canadians go visit, or Las Vegas, or places like that. They want to boycott the United States. Are you hearing that as well?
In a big way, actually. We know the border traffic's gone down dramatically. Flights going into the U.S. dropped dramatically. And isn't that unfortunate? Two countries, two groups of people that love each other. We need to get through this and start traveling back and forth. I was just a few minutes before I hopped on, I have Governor Cox from Utah here. What a gentleman. He feels the same way. We have to get through this trade deal and continue growing both economies.
Yeah, I hate this rift that has developed between the United States and Canada, two very close and very friendly, traditionally friendly allies, and now look what's going on. Doug Ford, thanks as usual for joining us.
Thank you, Wolf. You're an absolute champion. We love America, and thank you, Pamela, as well.
And we love
Of course,
Canada
thank
too.
you for coming on the show. And, you make a really, ask an important.
Yeah. The whole thing is unfortunate. And I think it's stupid. Oh, well, what are you going to do? You got to find a way through it, I guess. And somehow we will. Might just take some time, though. Mark Carney. Yeah, in a bit of hot water. Well, getting hammered anyway in the media. Let me just see here. So here's, look at this headline. And he got some splaining to do, Lucy. This is actually about a story that was originally from the Globe and Mail. And here's the Toronto Sun take on it. When asked about this in a scrum with reporters, Carney ended up snapping a little bit, and I'll play you that clip at the reporter. And this is all about China. And as he says here, Brian Lilly says, it's an issue that won't leave Liberal leader Mark Carney alone. And it's starting to get to him. His remarks were nasty in tone. He was snarky. He also seemed to be channeling Justin Trudeau, he says. He famously said, the allegations in the Globe story this morning are false. And they were in response to reporting back in February of 2019 that said Trudeau had tried to pressure his then Attorney General, Jody Wilson-Raybould, blah, blah, blah. But this similar sort of scenario, I guess, in some way, is about a story in the Globe and Mail that reports that Mark Carney, now Prime Minister, running for his first seat in the House of Commons, had met with executives from the Jiangsu Commerce Council of Canada. The JCCC is a Toronto-based group founded more than 20 years ago to ostensibly, it says, foster ties between China and Canada, but it is widely viewed as a front group for China's United Front Work Department. The UFWD works on behalf of the Chinese government in Beijing to, among other things, spy on and exert influence over the Chinese diaspora in places like Canada. So Carney, when asked about this today, well, I'll play you the clip, and you can judge for yourself if he gets a little bit testy here. And I have to say, my take on it is that, yeah, he got kind of cranky. He is not the polished politician that we're used to. That's because he has been involved in government as an economist, as the governor of the banks of Canada and England, but he has not been a politician until now. And you really need to learn how to cope with questions you don't like, especially when you're in the position of top dog. Here we go.
Says that this is a tactic China uses to exert influence.
Okay, well, I'm sorry, but you can't believe everything you read in the Globe and Mail. So in your question, and I guess in the article in question, you said I had a meeting with whatever your term was, Beijing group. I've never heard of this group, okay? Never heard of this group. Certainly didn't have a set-up meeting with this group. Full stop. So check your sources before you write things like that, okay? Or your colleagues do.
Says that.
The problem is, I'm going to show you what the problem is. The problem is in the thumbnail, actually. Maybe I've lost the tab. I'll pull it back up. It'll only take me a moment. The problem is there are pictures of him with this group. He posed with them. Here we go. Sorry for the delay. We just lost that tab. Here we go. So we have the photos. I believe this is a photo of him with the president of this business group from China. And there you go. Okay. And another one. And another one. Excuse me. It was an honor to be part of tonight's leadership event for Mark Carney, hosted MP for Brampton East. It says today was a powerful reminder that leadership isn't about making decisions, it's about listening, learning, having courage. Yeah, okay. So I guess these photos must have been taken at one of the leadership race events. Now, on the website for this organization, they say that they, here it is here. Oh my goodness, something in my throat. They're claiming there was more of a connection. Let's read right from their website. On March 9th, local time, Canada's political arena ushered in major change. Mark Carney was successfully elected as the leader of the Liberal Party of Canada, indicating that in the near future he will shoulder the heavy responsibility of the Prime Minister of Canada. Recently, Zhu Xiaoguang, president of the Jiangsu International Chamber of Commerce in Canada, Jiang Rui, honorary president, and other Chamber of Commerce representatives had an in-depth meeting with the soon-to-be appointed Prime Minister. In the face of the current trade war from the United States and the threat to Canada's sovereignty, Mark Carney believes that trade must be diversified, reducing economic dependence on the United States and actively expanding trade relations with countries such as South America, the United Kingdom, and the Asia-Pacific region, establishing new trade routes. So they're saying that they had an in-depth meeting with him to talk about expanding trade between Canada and China. And now, of course, the allegation, I guess, is that Carney has been benefiting from Chinese influence in the election. I don't quite get it on the one level. Like, I get that you don't want Chinese influence. What has he done wrong here? He had some people from the Chamber of Commerce meet him at a leadership event, and then they posed for pictures. He says that he doesn't know what the JCCC is. Does he go on here? Yeah, so the concern is, as it says in this article, that there were large spikes of coordinated, inauthentic behavior online where articles positive about Carney from Beijing-aligned media outlets were boosted on the WeChat social media platform by accounts and influencers with ties to the Chinese government. The goal to boost Mark Carney in the eyes of Chinese Canadian voters. And then Lily says, basically, China is trying to persuade Chinese Canadians to vote Liberal. And then they're sort of tying that to this Chamber of Commerce group, which is, they're saying, a front for this other organized Chinese organization that is involved in possible foreign influence in Canada, as outlined by our intelligence agencies or an agency within the last week. And so Carney's saying he doesn't know who the group is, but there's a picture of him with them. And they're saying they met with him, but the photos appear to be from a leadership event just recently. So was he aware? Did he know exactly who these people were? Which organization specifically? I don't know. Or was it just more people coming up and posing with him and meeting? And, you know, he's shaking hands with a lot of people. When you're a politician, a lot of people come around and you end up having your photo taken with a lot of folks, lots and lots and lots of people. Even Jeremy McKenzie with Pierre Poilievre shaking his hand. You got the photo. And now over here you got this. So you can assess for yourself. I don't know how serious this is or how not serious it is. I know that I've seen lying going on all across the board, and I've seen some truth coming out, and this is stuff that seems to have some merit to it, maybe, but how deep does it go? I don't know. And is Carney witting or unwitting? Maybe we'll learn more in the days ahead. Very hard to say. They're throwing everything, plus the kitchen sink at this thing, though. His opponents. They're hammering on him pretty hard. The biggest, the most important thing I think that he needs to do is learn how to let this stuff roll off his back and respond in a way that isn't going to get him criticized. Like, I don't think he lost his temper so much, but you could see he was irritated. And, meh, it is what it is. Okay, let's take a little break. We're going to come back. We've got, we'll get into that helicopter crash in the Hudson River on the other side.
Greetings, brave Mavericks. Our quest for truth continues. We go beyond fake news. Together we expose propaganda. Together we pull others out of rabbit holes. We are maverick thinkers. We are all unique individuals, defenders of individual rights and freedoms, credible, trusted, grounded in reality. Maverick News, Maverick News. Defending free speech, free speech. Donate at freedomreporters.com. Do it now. Tomorrow may be too late. Maverick News. The world is watching.
All right, let's get some video of this this helicopter crash on the Hudson River. 6 people killed. Here we go, right here. Hang on just a minute. I need to take this call. One. Yeah, we will in just a moment. Hang on. Sorry. Okay, so I don't need to take a break now. We're going to go to the phones here in a minute, too. Hudson River crash. Here we go. This is actual video of the incident. And just viewer discretion advised, this does show the helicopter going down. Terrible. Absolutely terrible. So what do we know? Well, this was a tourist helicopter, and it was carrying family members from Spain. And it went into the river. It killed 6 people on board, including 3 children. This was New York Helicopters chartered chopper. It was carrying a pilot, 2 adults, and the 3 children. And it went into the Hudson River by Lower Manhattan in New York City. It happened this afternoon. So an executive from European automation company Siemens, his wife, this executive, his name was Augustin Escobar. His wife, Merce Kemprubi, Montal, and their children. They were 4, 5, and 11 years old, and they were all killed. And it happened around 3:15, quarter after 3 this afternoon, off the coast of River Drive in Hoboken, New Jersey. And it had only been in the air about 15 minutes. It had left Wall Street Heliport. The helicopter made it to the George Washington Bridge, then turned south and then crashed. There was information released by police this afternoon, and the family was from Barcelona, Spain. It's obviously under investigation. The National Transportation Safety Board is on scene, and we'll probably learn more, hopefully soon. Certainly, I would think by tomorrow. Very strange. It didn't look like it didn't even look like the rotors were spinning or that the blades were turning at the time of the crash. And witnesses reported something that sounded like a sonic boom. And some people say that the propellers actually broke into pieces. So that explains why it doesn't look like the blades were spinning, because they may not have been on the helicopter anymore. It was a Bell 206 helicopter. It had been in the air 5 times prior. This was the 6th flight of the day. And was found upside down in the water. 50 degrees was the water temperature. And that's as much as we know about that tonight. That's the most up-to-date information we have. Okay, we will take a little break here now. And when we come back, we'll go to the phones so you can join the conversation. In fact, what I'll do is right now, I'll put the number up on the screen. Here's how to call in. Okay, Mavericks, it's call-in time. Join the conversation. Call 1-647-734-4220. Then enter the PIN number 860-075-764, followed by the pound sign. Exercise your right to free speech. Call 1-647-734-4220. Then enter the PIN number 860-075-764, followed by the pound sign. Call 1-647-734-4220. Then enter the PIN number 860-075-764, followed by the pound sign. Maverick News. Call now. The world is watching and listening to you. All right, I'm back. And if you want to call in, I'll put the number up on the screen here in a moment. But please consider subscribing to our channels. Hit the thumbs up, like, share, subscribe, and if you're so inclined, if you're able to, we could sure use the support. You can donate to the program at freedomreporters.com, and you can also donate by e-transfer at rw581@aol.com. And then please complete the security question. Assign the answer to be Maverick, all in lowercase. And then we'll know what the answer to the question is. We can't complete the transaction if you don't complete the security question, because it goes into a business account and we do pay our taxes. So unlike some politicians who like to use tax havens so it appears. Let's go to the phones here, shall we? And you can call in tonight yourself and join the conversation at 1-647-734-4220. 1-647-734-4220. And then just punch in that PIN number, 860-075-764, followed by the pound sign. And I'll put you right into the mix. And our first caller of the night is on the line. Who's on the line with us? Hello.
Is it me, Rick? Is it me?
Hi, me.
Hi,
Yeah,
it's Rimby John, Alberta. Well,
Rimby John.
welcome to everybody. Love and kisses from Alberta. What do you think of Pierre's thing tonight?
I think it's politics, and I think that, he's doing it right because he keeps kind of, to make any campaign effective, you have to be repetitive. So you're getting a lot of the same messaging. It's, and it's the same formula. His wife introduces him, he takes to the stage, and then he hits on all the talking points. It's always interesting from night to night to see what new developments there are, or how somebody in the audience is dealt with. If you have a heckler, or like tonight, even positive supporters is shouting something out, and then you see how they respond to that. And, but he's getting, sizable crowds. In some cases, I would say even unprecedented crowds out. And yeah, I think that he has his speech down. I think that he's running a pretty effective campaign. I still think the messaging might have been a little bit more effective had he adjusted the messaging a little bit, maybe a couple of weeks earlier, or a week earlier at least. But yeah, I think overall it's going fairly well for him. I still am of the mind, though, that this is very, very close. I'm seeing influencers online, John, who are saying, depending on which camp they're in, that it's not close at all, that either Pierre Poilievre is way out in front or Mark Carney is way out in front. And I think the reality is it is very, very close. And a lot of the major polling that's done out there right now indicates that as well. I think that it is fairly accurate. These online influencers, I could run one of them tonight who says, I'm checking the polls being done independently by people with like live streams, and those are not scientific. Like he ran one on his channel and came back with 75% in favor, 85% in favor of Pierre Poilievre. Well, of course, because you're a conservative podcaster and your audience is pro-conservative, pro-Pierre, so you're going to get skewed results. And you get different, like I was talking, and I hope I'm not babbling too much, but over the past couple of nights, I've talked about the number of views that videos from the speeches are getting, but the numbers you get depend partly on what platform the speech is running on. For instance, if you are running on, I put the full Mark Carney speech up on Twitter, and it got like double the views compared to Poilievre's. But over on YouTube and Rumble, Poilievre is getting a lot more views than Carney. So I don't know. It depends on the algorithm and the demographics. What do you think?
Well, I hate to ask you for two special favors in a week, but you did my special favor from the lady from Brandon, Manitoba. She's now part of our United. I hate to admit this. I've been following a guy named Stephen Rogers. Mm-hmm. He's a YouTuber guy, big Canadian following, part of the big Trump-Pence thing, FBI guy, intelligence, former member, anti-terrorist task force. I mean, Laura Trump, I love her. She's at him on her new studio podcast, 45 from Trump Tower. Huge Canadian fan base, my friend. I don't even know if you know about him. Could we invite him on the show, Rick?
Well, I've had other
Like, do
people
you
ask
even
me.
know who he is?
Yeah, we've talked about him on the show. We have. And
okay. I must have missed that. Okay. I must have missed that. Fill me in.
Well, I'd have to go way back, but I mean, we spoke about his SOS campaign and his ongoing talk about, liberating Canada from the communist liberal government that we have here in Canada and so on. And, people have asked to have him on the program. In fact, I have been reaching out to him because he has, he's made appearances on some other programs. He's speaking about this stuff again online and through social media. So there is rekindled interest in what he's doing. And yeah, I have reached out to him so far. We haven't had a positive response from him. I'm not sure kind of where we're at, if we're going to be able to get him on the show. You really want to hear from him?
Love to see him on, Alberta, because he's a Trump guy, and Alberta, we're still kind of Trump. Can you invite him on again, or I would love to have him on the call-in show.
I have reached out to him, even with, honestly, John, as recently as this past week again, and wow. I wasn't able to speak with him directly, but I did speak with an assistant that he has, and the request is out there, but I'm told he's pretty busy, so I'm not sure if we can make it happen. But if this is what people would like to see happen, I can put the request in again and see if he can.
Well, Steve Rogers, please come on Maverick News, Lieutenant, I think. No, he's a very, very interesting, intelligent guy. FBI intelligence, former member, terrorism task force. The wall, the border wall with Trump and Pence.
Yeah.
I like him. 9/11 controversy. I mean, I've been following him a little bit, but and I don't know if you can answer this or not, Rick. Yeah. I'm surprised, kind of pleasantly. He appears to Steve Rogers have a huge Canadian following on his podcast.
Yeah, he does have some Canadians. He certainly does.
Oh,
yeah.
Okay.
I don't align with him on some of the things that he says, in particular about Canada. Maybe that's why he doesn't want to come on the program. But as you know, we treat everybody fairly, and I've told them we can even open this up to the phone so that people like you can talk to him, because that is, that's important. We give people a voice here, and we respect all opinions. And with the 51st state stuff, front and center right now, and you're out there in Alberta. I know you are, and
Rick, I don't know
independent separation stuff.
Well, would this touch into the realm of foreign interference, maybe with General Vallely on my back border in Montana? Like, I don't know. I would love to see him. If you can please invite him back on the show, I would love. He's a very interesting guy, very intelligent.
Yeah, well, we can do that. We should move on and talk about other stuff. I appreciate you bringing him up. And I'll put another request in. That's about all I can really do. But thank you for bringing it to my attention. I know he has been a public figure and a factor in this whole Alberta independence, Canada 51st state debate. So he
and I think, Rick, in fairness, Doug Ford was back on tonight with Wolf Blitzer. Whether you love or like Doug Ford, he is Team Canada. He's out there front and center, putting the Canadian, agenda forward. And I like the guy. I like him. I don't know if you saw him on there, but he's totally Team Canada. I love Doug Ford.
Yeah, he's diplomatic. He is making it clear that I agree. It's unfortunate that we have this divide right now between Canada and the U.S. and there's all this turmoil, and ultimately, it's the people that are going to end up suffering as a result of this. And just, even today, I'm seeing like General Motors is suffering as a result of all of this. The company has gone from a buy notice to neutral
The stock price is plummeting. It's down about 18% over the last few months. I'm trying to remember the exact stats, but GM stock not doing well, even though the company has been efficient. It has been posting higher earnings than expected, but because of the tariffs, investors are backing away from General Motors as a company and not buying the stock. It's that is a clear indication that this economic policy, in my view and the view of many others, is not really working, and certainly not in the interests of the economy overall and the people.
Well, Rick, the only thing I can say to you, I'm not going to mention any names, but some good friends of mine in Alberta, the man is handicapped. His name is Stan. He worked 34 years for Bank of Montreal. Half of his stock portfolio is gone because of what Trump has been doing. And this is a gentleman, I love him to death. He's handicapped, very, very conservative in investments with his broker. And he can't look at retirement homes anymore, Rick, with assisted living with 3 meals a day, because I think 35 or 40% of his investment thing is gone. And it's all due to this tariffs. I mean, I'm not a stock market guy. I'm in oil. You'd know more about that than me. But I mean, I'm talking regular people. Trump may be a billionaire, but regular people, Rick, on the street that are being hurt.
Yeah. Yeah.
And I'm not telling you this story to be happy about it or anything. This is a dear friend of mine, saved my life in 2020 with the lockdowns. And he's hurting big time.
Yeah.
And he's a very, very conservative investor. And yeah, and I mean, these are regular people on the street that have been decimated in Alberta, in Canada, not just the United States.
Yes.
This is hurting everybody, Rick.
Yeah. Yeah. I don't know what else to say. It's the dumbest trade war ever. It's ultimately going to end up hurting the American people. And this pause, I don't think it's because Donald Trump is smart, and I don't think it's 5D chess, and I don't think it's because it's the art of the deal. He was pretty much forced to back off on all of this stuff because stocks were tanking. There was too much turmoil with treasury bills. The market is in a state of chaos. And I think he finally came under pressure from even some of the people around him who up until now have been reluctant to criticize him at all. But this was just so devastating that I don't think he really had any choice. He had to back off. And this 90-day pause on a lot of these tariffs, it's I don't know. It's not over yet though, man. And we still have a problem here in Canada.
I really hate to have to admit this from Alberta. And we do have to admit once in a while, big mistakes. We were major Trump people in Alberta. I'm not so much anymore. And I'm sorry, Rick, I have to say it on the show. I've got to pull my hands in and apologize. The United States of America was a much better world with Sleepy Joe, basic bunker Biden at the ice cream shop. No trouble in the stock market, my friend.
Maybe that's the key to everything, John. Maybe what we need is to get politicians in there who just sleep all the time so that they stop doing so much damage. They're too busy sleeping to inflict stupidity on us. Who's on the line?
At the ice cream shop. Who's on the line?
Who's there?
It's Isabel. Hi, guys.
Hey, how are you tonight?
Oh, watching this yo-yo of Trump's. I was watching.
Isabel, it's a ding-dong. It's Captain Chaos, Isabel.
Captain Chaos, yeah.
Captain Chaos, the orange orangutan.
I have another name, but I can't say it.
Oh, sure you can, Isabel. We're on Rumble. I'm on Rumble, not on YouTube.
Well,
You
we're
can
we're
say
on
whatever
we're
you
on
want.
we're on YouTube too, so just be
Yeah, I
careful.
have to be careful what I say.
Anyway, go ahead,
I
Isabella.
could get
Go
locked
ahead.
up, you know.
Yeah. What's on your mind tonight?
I was watching today, and I guess this was done yesterday because they're investigating like the conspiracy of why these tariffs on off as the market goes up, goes down.
Yeah.
And you were mentioning last night about who's making money on this.
Mm-hmm.
And I guess, is it the Senate? Anyway, they're investigating it. And this one guy tore into Trump's rep, I guess. Yeah. And he just literally ripped him from one end to the other about this.
Yeah. Hey,
so
look,
who's making money?
You know what? You think about this, and I have. I don't know if other people are thinking about it in these terms, but when Trump was in office the first time, what happened? Mm-hmm. The market started to climb. Everything was doing really well. Then what happened when he was in the White House? Everything went to hell. We ended up in the end with lockdowns, with a completely controlled economy. We saw lockdowns, businesses shut down, not just in Canada, in the United States too, in many, many, many states. He did nothing to step in and prevent states from doing any of it, which he could have, because we're seeing that he's done it now. He could have done it then, but he said, oh no, it's up to the states. No, he left it to allow them to do it. And then in the end, what did we really ultimately end up seeing? We saw the biggest transfer of wealth from the middle class and small businesses, many of which went out of business completely because they were shut down. Well, big stores, big businesses were allowed to continue to operate.
Yeah.
And the wealth from the middle class went to these big oligarchs, big, huge corporations, big, giant companies, and the ultra rich. Amazon, Jeff Bezos, all of these big rich people. What's going on right now? Again, John just told us about it. You have somebody on disability with their pension cut in half. They've got Elon Musk in there hacking and slashing at Social Security, saying that he's saving money. Meanwhile, the market tanks, and it's pretty clear that on the other side of this, the rich people, they always get richer in these situations because they just seem to know when to sell just before the crash. And then, of course, they seem to get a wink and a nod, and then bam, they know when to buy to ride it back up to the top. And just in the last 24 to 48 hours, I think you probably have seen a huge amount of money made by some of the richest people out there. Hopefully some of this comes out through investigations and acts of transparency in the months ahead, because it stinks to high heaven to me.
Yeah, and that's what the question was today. Who's reaping the benefit from insider trading here?
Oh yeah, and here we are, not even 100 days into this administration, and we have this huge stock market roller coaster ride, all of which is completely controlled and manipulated by the dude in the White House, because he's doing it all with tariffs, what he's saying on social media. He's controlling the market. He's pulling these levers to make it go up and down. Who's on the line with us?
John.
John. How are you?
Yeah, this is nonsense. This is Canadian nonsense. This is anti-American, and it's not just anti-American, it's anti-Canadian nonsense you're spewing, Rick.
Is it?
You serve evil, Rick.
I serve evil.
You serve evil. You are anti-Canadian.
Really?
No, we're not.
And what?
Well, you are, Rick. You are, Rick. This show is turned into nothing but lies.
Really?
So let me explain something to you.
Sure, you go right ahead.
Something to you. That these tariffs. Now, okay. One thing I like about you. Well, first of all, I like a lot of things about you, Rick. First of all, just from presentation, you're amazing. I would pay you if I was a rich person, which I'm not. I would pay you a lot of money to just be a podcaster for a product I had or something like that. You're obviously a professional broadcaster. So you're amazing in that regard. As a Canadian, there's a lot of things I like about you. As a human being, there's a lot of things I like about you. This show was instrumental in keeping me sane during the COVID lockdown. But you have, and I don't know why. It might be something just because you're an imperfect human being. You might be sold out to somebody. I don't know.
No, I am
But
imperfect. That's for sure. I'm human.
Well, so am I, brother. So am I. So you're not the only one. But the thing is this show has become a fount of lies. You are lying. You are lying, and it may not be you intentionally lying. It might be just you giving into the lies, or maybe you think you're defending Canada. I don't know. But you are lying about what's going on in America. Okay, first of all, I just want to say one thing. Canadians booed the national anthem at a hockey game.
Yes.
Now, that might not seem like a very big thing, but when you boo the American national anthem, the way Canadians look upon it is you're booing our martyrs. You're booing our American soldiers, Marines, airmen, etc. that have died fighting for America. So Americans take that very personally. On this show, I've heard multiple times, including one of your callers.
If I may say,
hold on. I want to just finish one thing.
Sure.
One thing. Okay. I've heard many of your people on this show, including you, including one of the callers that's on right now, talk about booing the American national anthem. I'm going to tell you right now, that is disrespectful, and it is not okay. Americans take that very seriously, and that is not okay. What were you going to say? I'm sorry.
Well, I've seen the same thing at sporting events where Americans have been attacking Canadians and our national anthem too. Junior hockey games, even minor hockey games. We've seen.
That's not done.
I'm sorry.
When have Americans booed the Canadian national anthem?
I was just speaking. I just spoke to a lady last week who watches junior hockey, and it happened at a hockey game.
Junior hockey.
Yeah.
Junior hockey. So you don't even have a video of it. I don't believe you. I don't believe her. I think that's a lie.
I guess you just choose to believe what you want to believe. Then I guess.
Well, I can show you video of a national hockey of a very big hockey event where Canadians were doing that, but you're citing things where there's no evidence of.
Okay, so you want evidence? What about the reports of the people that go down there as snowbirds and they've been told to go home from Florida by your Americans?
Yeah.
Well, I've heard Rick talk about that. That's total nonsense. That's not happening.
Okay.
In Rick's own chat, there's been people who have said that they're Canadians in America, and that's not happening. That's not happening. That's not happening.
Not happening.
And that's the part of the lies that I'm talking about Rick is involved with, because Rick will take a story and he'll exploit it and like talk about it like it's the standard. And it's
no, that's
nonsense.
not actually. That's not John.
That's not happening in America.
No, actually, that's not. Your attack on me is not quite accurate. I have said that I'm not there. And then we actually spoke to a lady who's a viewer of ours, a regular viewer, but she's a truck driver. She drives all across the United States. We asked her what she is seeing, and she has acknowledged that these kinds of incidents are happening.
One lady in a country of over 300 million people is not evidence, Rick. It's not evidence.
Oh, well,
in your own chat, I've seen people who are Canadians who live in America at least part-time.
You're just being.
It sounds like
it's fairly clear you're being selective in the evidence you choose to.
No, you're being selective. So one person is your evidence of a country of 300 million people?
No,
you're being selective, Rick.
No, I'm not. I'm
You're
just giving you.
I'm
giving you an example of someone who is giving.
Anti-American.
No, actually, I'm not anti-American at all. I've been one of the most pro-America podcasters.
No, you are not
pro-American.
who are anti-American propagandists. Even the people that you have on your show, you have on your show people that are anti-American propagandists, people that are anti-Trump propagandists. Let me explain something to you, Rick.
We have
Okay,
people
so wait a minute.
real quick.
Wait a minute.
Let me explain something to you, Rick, and to all you Canadians who don't like America. President Trump is our president. If you attack President Trump, you are attacking America. We support President Trump.
Well, that's fine.
Not all of you.
Support President Trump.
It was your president who attacked our prime minister by calling him
Yeah.
governor. It was your president who's attacked our sovereignty.
Your prime minister is a corrupt shill. He's a corrupt shill.
Okay,
George
in
the White House by corrupt Canadian politicians.
Well,
you're saying that we're anti-American? You're anti-Canadian.
Yes.
You come on a Canadian show and you start barraging everybody on the show without really listening to one
This
person at all.
show has turned into nothing but
Well, you don't have to
anti-American
call, do
lies.
you?
Well,
You don't have to
This
call,
show
do
has
you?
turned into nothing
So-
but anti-American lies. Rick is trying to say
Oh
one
my
lady
God.
who he claims says that
Oh my
Canadians are
God.
being mistreated in America shows that Canadians are. I can assure you, if Canadians come to America, they will be treated with nothing but respect.
You mean
Americans
We haven't
love
seen that yet.
You mean like the
But
lady who was
you,
getting
Rick,
her work visa renewed who
hate
ended up
America.
in jail?
And anyone who boos the American national anthem is a scumbag. Let me tell you that right now. Anybody who boos the American national anthem is a communist scumbag.
Communist?
Whoa, 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 whoa.
Now you're a
crossing the
communist.
line.
If I may whine in
You're
for a
crossing
moment.
the line. You think you want
I'm
to
not
be nice
crossing
to
the line.
Canadians, and you're calling us
Anyone who
communists?
boos the American national anthem
Oh,
is a
I see.
scumbag.
Oh, I
My friend,
see.
you have some people down there on your side of the border, Americans, who sometimes burn American flags, and I don't like to see that at all. I'm not
Yeah.
anti-American.
Rick, every guest you have on your show that's from America is a CNN shill.
Really?
You have
no, that's not true.
anti-Trump,
That's not
anti-American shills. The people that you have on your show, like for instance, you're trying to claim that some retired American general is some proof that Trump was trying to take over Canada. That's total BS.
Well, I
The
I
people
showed
that
you.
have on your
Hey,
show,
man,
honestly, Rick, hold on. Let me say one thing, Rick.
No,
I think
you've
you are
spoken. You've spoken. Now you have to.
state.
Now it's.
I
now,
think you
yeah,
are taking money from the deep state. The people you have on your show,
Rick's are your deep state.
Yeah. Okay. So now it's time for me to talk. You're making accusations with no proof. I laid out the whole thing with General Vallely, and it's his words. He's the one talking about it. He talks about exactly what he was doing. I showed you actual documents that he signed, which can be interpreted no other way because it lays it right out and shows that he absolutely was involved in foreign interference in our politics. All of it designed to disrupt and maybe even honestly overthrow our government. And it was an attack not just on Justin Trudeau, but on our government, our very sovereignty. That's what's at stake here, my friend. And it's your president who has been insulting Canada by threatening to annex us, as he has been with Greenland, which is also an insult to the people of Greenland and Denmark, a country that is traditionally a U.S. ally, a strong ally, just as Canada has been. But Trump, in his own words, has told us that he's not joking about it, and yet you seem to just dismiss it as though it's nothing. The insults came from Donald J. Trump to Canada. He has been nothing but insulting to not only our prime minister, but our government and to Canadians, us as people, because he's attacking our very sovereignty, saying that we don't even deserve to exist as a country. That the line between the United States, the boundary between Canada and the United States is just an imaginary line, as though Canada doesn't even exist. And that is an insult. It's also a blatant lie. So it's very rich of you to come on here and make these allegations, level these accusations that are groundless. And I can't help you, my friend, if you just won't acknowledge actual evidence, and you're just very selective in what you choose to acknowledge. That's not truth, and it certainly doesn't lead to freedom. You've never had a more authoritarian president in your history. This guy, I used to think he was pretty good. I liked where he was going the first time around, but he duped us. And as I just laid out, the first time around, we got nothing but chaos when he was in the White House. Absolute chaos, and the biggest transfer of wealth from the middle class to the ultra rich in human history. And now, not even 100 days in, and we've got the same sort of chaos going on again. And it's ordinary, everyday people who are paying the price. And you can come on here and make these accusations, but be respectful. Have a real conversation with me, but don't just sit here and choose to ignore what you want to ignore and acknowledge only what you want to acknowledge. You have to open your mind and also be respectful, not just of me, but of our country and Canadians in general. And I'm sorry, but it is unfortunate that we see people on both sides doing things like booing national anthems at sporting events. But that's one way for people to express their discontent, not so much with America, my friend, but with the buffoon that you have in the White House right now. And I don't use that word lightly. I mean it, because the guy is a joke. Now, let me see if I can unmute you somehow.
Rick, it's Rimby John. Rick, I am part American, and I talked months ago about me stepping between the line. I'm a Canadian, but I'm American too. My family came from Minnesota in 1918 to Alberta from Norway.
Yeah.
And this gentleman calling in tonight, you embarrass me as an American. I just talked to my relative in Minnesota the other day, Nolan Underley. He's a multimillionaire. He's 98 years old. He's apologizing to me about the Captain Chaos in the White House, the orangutan. He is embarrassed being a lifelong Republican. And the United States of America, and I'm part American, you need to be reminded, you need my dirt cheap oil from Alberta, potash, fisheries, lumber, heavy metals from Ontario. And this is obviously, and I love the guy calling in. He's obviously an uneducated American calling in again and calling into a Canadian show. We love you. Call in again. We're all for Trump. We're totally for Trump, but he screwed us. You do not turn on your largest ally and customer in the world, being Canada and Mexico. And I'm sorry. I'm part American. I apologize about the guy that called in tonight. Those are not the Americans that I know.
Mm-hmm.
They're just not. I'm sorry. And my friends from the United States of America, don't you ever accuse Rick Walker of being a propaganda guy or this or that. This is one of the most family men in the world I've ever known in North America, with values of integrity and journalism. And when you call in again, my friends from the US, and please call in again, have your facts straight. Don't attack us because your orange orangutan, Captain Chaos, attacked us. And we're fighting back. And I'm sorry. And Canada and Mexico is going to bring the United States into bankruptcy. You're already there. You're right on the edge of one vote away from it. So don't piss off a Mexican or a Canadian. I'm sorry. I'm sorry, Isabel.
I think the most ignorant thing that happened with that conversation is he's riled up, no doubt about it. But on the other hand, you come on a show, you come on with dignity. You don't come on to start calling people communists and sleazebag. We're human beings. We're all in this together.
Yeah.
And maybe he likes Trump and that's great, but he's not on the end. If it was the other way around and we were tariffing them in the beginning, do you think he would be the way he is? I mean, we're the one that's got the rough stick. That's the problem. And this guy doesn't see it. And all he can do is come on and scream at us for being, communists and propagandists. And like, that blows me away.
Well, when you
Like
have
Isabel,
when you have the
it-
media, if I may, John, telling the American people through echoing what and repeating what Donald Trump has been saying, that all these other countries have been ripping us off. Well, we haven't been ripping off the United States any more than I don't know, any more than any country that has people working for, as I said, $1 a day has been ripping off the United States. Those people are not ripping off the United States, and we're not either. John, you alluded to it.
Yeah, you
Alberta,
muted me.
Yeah,
you
I
muted
did.
me.
Yeah, and if you're not respectful, I'll do it again too. But if you want to rebut what I said, you go ahead.
I wasn't disrespectful
kinda
to our
you
friends
were.
from
Oh, my
Alberta.
God.
Let me explain to you something to you, pal. You are not an American. You are not an American. Claiming
Oh,
that
here we
you're
go.
part American is meaningless. And let me tell you something right now. You and Mexico, your little country and Mexico, are not going to bankrupt the greatest nation on the face of the planet.
Oh my
all right?
God.
So you can talk tough all you want, but you are not going to bankrupt the United States of America.
We don't need
You are
to.
a bunch of
We don't need to. Donald
anti-American
Trump is doing it
communists.
for you.
You are
You're
anti-American
well on the way.
communist. And let me explain something.
Can
I want to make my point. You made
Johnny?
your point. You made your point. Even if you hadn't muted me, Rick. See, you didn't have to mute
I
me.
tried
Rick.
to unmute
I
you. All
would
you
have
had to
been
do is unmute
respectful,
yourself.
and I would have listened to you because I'm a civilized person. I don't lie
No,
like you.
you're a
And I don't lie
rapacious
like you're
American.
in Alberta.
You are a
I was listening
rapacious
to you.
American.
I was listening to you, but you
Rapacious.
So you need to
You
listen
need
and
my
allow me
oil.
to
I
make
don't
my
need
point.
you. You're a rapacious American, and you need to be
You
brought to your
are an
knees in bankruptcy.
anti-American Albertan. And let me explain something to you, pal. You think you're going to do business in America? I know who you are. You, my friend, are an anti-American communist.
Oh.
Okay?
Oh, here we go.
I'm a
Here comes
communist
the
now.
American threat.
John
the
is
greatest
John
country on the
Rimby
face
Here
of
God
come the
the
American
planet.
threat.
is not a communist, my friend.
You
He's
are
the
not
furthest
going to.
thing
You
from a
are not going
communist.
to. You threatened to bankrupt the United States of America.
No,
Let
We
me
don't have
tell you
Trump
something, pal.
doing it.
Trump's
You
for
and your
you.
little tiny country and
Oh my
Mexico
God.
are not going to bankrupt the United States of America. You understand
Apparently
me?
you haven't
You
looked at the
understand
map.
me?
We don't want.
You are an
Look at the map.
We
It's
don't want to
smaller than us.
bankrupt the
fool.
United States. We don't
You are
want
an
to be that.
anti-American fool. Now I want to make a point about tariffs. I want to make a point
Oh
about
my
tariffs.
God.
But
Yeah.
I'll wait till Rick gives me a chance because I'm a civilized human being, not an uncivilized.
Go
Canadian.
ahead. Go
No,
make
you're
your
a
take
Steve
your-
Rogers
Go ahead.
plant.
Make your point.
You're a
people's,
Steve Rogers plant.
dead soldiers.
Go ahead.
I would never boo Canadians who died in battle.
But you call us
even if I
communists.
didn't agree with the battle. I would
But
never
you call
do
us
that.
communists.
I'm a civilized human being. I'm an American. I will wait for Rick to allow me to have a chance to speak to make a point about tariffs. I am not an uncivilized.
Go ahead
savage
and
like
So
make
you
make your point.
Go ahead.
The boo was
Well,
directed at the White House,
we
you
got
dumb
past
American.
that.
Okay, just
The
we got
boo
past
was the
that.
hockey
Okay,
game.
everybody
was
stop.
directed at the
Everybody
White
stop.
House.
Everybody
Rick
stop.
allowed
And
me
just
to.
let him make his point about the tariffs. Go.
I wish you would.
Okay, thank you, Rick. So the point I would like to make, well, first of all, I just want to say anyone who claims they're going to bankrupt America is not a friend of America, okay? And you should not be doing business in America. It's as simple as that. But, okay.
Tell that to Trump.
The point.
Well, dude,
No, I'll
don't
tell that to
do
your
business
president,
in
Alberta.
Canada either, bro.
Let him speak.
I'll tell that friend in Alberta who like to talk tough.
Don't
So,
do business in
the point
Alberta
about
either,
tariffs.
my friend.
Let-
Go on
hey,
your own.
hey, let me talk.
Just let him
Where's the
speak.
point about tariffs? The point about tariffs. So here's the thing about with President Trump. Now, There are a lot of things I don't like about President Trump, but I'll bring that up in a totally different topic because it'll get everything off topic. The point about the tariffs. Here is what, from an American
how dare
point
you
of view,
criticize Donald Trump?
Well, here
you
he's the president of the United States of
anti-American
America.
Trump
He's
derangement
not just,
syndrome
hold
shit.
on.
That's
Donald
why
Trump
you're
is not
here.
just Donald
You
Trump.
came on this
He's
show to
the
attack Donald
president.
Trump in a
He's a
reverse
symbol of
180
America, my friend.
psychological warfare.
He's a symbol of
That's
America,
what
my
you are.
friend.
You're a
Hold on,
plant.
let me make the point
You're a
about the tariffs.
liberal. You're
Allow me to make the
probably
point.
are with the communists.
Can I make a comment real quick?
You're not allowing me to make the point.
Well, that's
So
because
the
You're
point
taking
I'm
an
trying
awful
to
long
make
time to
is,
make your point.
the point I'm trying to make is that first of all,
TDS.
you attacking you keep claiming you're attacking Donald Trump. Yada yada. Donald Trump is our president. Okay.
Yeah, so
The vast majority of Americans support Donald Trump. Okay. So you incorporating CNN propaganda and lies in your show, which is what you do, Rick, is not how the vast majority of Americans think. We support our president.
Majority,
we
sir.
support our president.
What's
Our
your point about
president
what is your point
symbolic
about,
of us?
make your point about the tariffs? I'm still
Well,
waiting.
hold on. Yeah,
and it's
but
been
you kept
3
talking
minutes
about
of you yakking about
Donald Trump. So here's the point about tariffs. From an American point of view, here is what's been going on for decades. This didn't just start yesterday. From an American point of view, what's been going on is the working class, the regular Americans have been getting less and less, and the rich have been getting more and more. And what we see from Donald Trump, from our president, not just Donald Trump, our president. By the way, you should have the respect. When I say, well, I don't even know who your president is now, but it used to be Trudeau. I am making my point. When it used to be Trudeau, I would say President Trudeau. You should acknowledge that President Trump is our
Governor Trudeau, not president. Governor Trudeau.
yeah, but he's not there anymore, so I guess he doesn't know.
That's just silliness. But the point I'm trying to make about tariffs is this. What President Trump is doing with the tariffs, I hope. Now, I could be wrong. Maybe he's working for evil people behind the scenes, yada, yada, and he's going to trick us and yada, yada. But what he is doing, what we hope he is doing, what a vast majority of Americans think he is doing, is he is bringing down the system that allowed for, and by the way, this will benefit Canadians too, that he's bringing down the system that benefited a few elite rich, and he's bringing back a system that allows the vast majority of Americans to benefit. By bringing in the tariffs, yes, that is absolutely going to raise prices in the United States of America. It's going to make things difficult in the short term for Americans, for regular Americans. Absolutely. I'm telling you right now, and I'm not saying you have to agree with this. I don't even know if we're right.
You're not.
But the vast majority, let me just say one point. If you want to understand what's going on, you need to understand this.
I understand.
The vast majority, you don't understand anything, Rick. The vast majority of Americans feel we are ready to have short-term suffering and to go through suffering, and on the other end of it, bring about the golden age of America. In America, that's the regular man on the street, the vast majority of us, not the people on CNN, not the people you have on your show, Rick, who are anti-President Trump, pro-CNN people, not the people that you have on your show, Rick, who are who are pro-globalist communists. The regular Americans feel that we need to have some short-term suffering, and we're going to go through it, and on the other end, our lives are going to be better.
All right.
That's what my friend. You're not buying my Alberta oil at a discount anymore. Full price, baby, Jewish price. Fuck you in the United States. You're not buying Alberta oil at a discount
anymore. Pay up. Pay. We don't need your oil. I don't need your oil.
need my oil.
America doesn't need
Well,
your oil.
okay, well, if
Canada needs America. We don't need you. We don't need you. Fuck you. We don't need you. No, hold on. We don't need you, you arrogant shit. We don't need you. You need America. You don't need. We don't need you. We have all the oil we could ever need.
You need
fuck you.
potash, steel, aluminum.
Fuck
You need everything.
Hey,
wow.
hey,
Wow.
I thought you were coming on here to have a discussion.
We don't
and
need
you
your
come on
resources.
here and
You need
harass
us. You
all
need
the
us.
Canadians.
And it's time that you realize that. You need us. We don't need you. You understand?
Well,
we don't need you.
How? Okay. Wow.
John.
Well,
if I may, guys.
Go ahead, Dragon.
I will just
Yeah,
say
please,
one
Dragon.
word, okay? Because the Dragon always have the good word here. So let's put it this way. I do remember at some point in 2023 when you had a certain Tucker Carlson going like, hey, Canada, with the tyrannic liberal government that you have, we can come and just save you from the government that you have. We can just come and invade the country. So, I mean, is it me or there's a spark of that idea or that seed that is now today the annexation of Canada that was part around these time and point in time?
Oh, man, alive. I don't know. My goodness.
And this is basically a disrespect of the Canadian sovereignty by the American. So from that point,
Wait, hold on.
We've got a new caller on the line here, so let's give
Can I
the new
say
caller.
one thing, though?
Hang on. Let's give the new caller a chance to speak. Who's on the line with
Thank you for not
us?
muting me. I appreciate that.
Who's on the line with us now?
Hi, Rick. It's Linda from Rumble Chat.
Please bring some sanity and some calmness to the conversation.
Okay, people, you guys need to talk one at a time because nobody can understand anything that you're saying.
Yep.
First of all, that's the biggest thing. Second of all, our caller, if you guys listen carefully to him, he was talking about the golden age. This was a person who believes in the Sarah, point blank clear. And that's why he was going off the handle. There is a lot of people out there that believes in this stuff. And it's scary because they're all being duped.
Yeah.
It's not scary.
So you believe in the Sarah? Is that true, John, from the U.S.? Are you into Sarah?
Say it again. Sorry.
Go ahead, Linda.
Sorry, can you repeat the question, please?
I'll let Linda bring it to you.
John, do you believe in the Sarah, the golden age?
I have no idea what you're talking about. I'm a Catholic. When President Trump, and I would appreciate, Rick, if you would call him President Trump. It's not just Donald Trump. It's President Trump from now on.
Okay,
Disrespectful
John,
when you just say Donald Trump. When President Trump talks about the golden age, hold on, I'm trying to answer your question. Let me answer. When President Trump says, hold on, let me finish. You asked me a question, let me answer. When President Trump says the golden age, now, maybe, does he mean something other than what I'm about to describe? Maybe, I don't know. There are things I don't like about President Trump. There are things I don't like about Donald Trump. But what most Americans hope is what he means, because I don't know what the hell you're talking about. The age of Sarah, or whatever you said, whatever crazy, not craziness you're talking about. What
do you
I
remember
mean
Raleigh
by the
that
gold,
Trump
let me
was-
finish. What I mean by the golden
Oh,
age.
my God.
Well, hold on. Let me finish. What I mean by the golden age is an America that is safe, an America that is secure, an America where my children are safe to walk the streets at night, but not just that, an America where my children, and I'm old, my grandchildren, and I don't have them yet, but my great grandchildren will do better than what I've done. That's what I want. I don't want Canada to do bad or whatever weird craziness you're probably going to say. I want what Americans have always wanted, which is for their children and their grandchildren to do better. And by the way, I want that for Canadians too. I don't think Americans doing good means Canadians have to do bad. I want Canadian children to do wonderfully and greatly and awesomely
now,
well
John,
into the future.
That's fine. Let Linda speak now, please.
Okay, John, when you say you're a Christian, okay, I'm a Christian too. Did you think it was right for Trump, or I should say President Trump, to say, come on, Catholics, let's vote. You won't ever have to vote again?
I don't see what's wrong with that.
I think there was something wrong with that.
Yeah. That means there won't be any more elections, John. That's what that means.
That's right. That's right.
So that's an
And that
democracy.
gives the president and the prime minister of any country the in to be able to stop our democratic votes.
Mm-hmm.
Trump is not stopping our democratic vote. Again,
But give him the opportunity, and would he do it?
This show has turned into a positioning where Donald Trump is somehow some tyrant. Regular Americans, in the vast majority, voted for President Trump.
The vast
we
majority.
voted for him. President, whether you like it or not, President Trump was our choice. He's the choice of the American people.
You're kind of muffled there. You might want to speak a little closer to your microphone.
Well, sorry, it's probably my phone. I was just saying President Trump was the choice of the vast majority of American people.
Whatever vast majority
President
means.
Trump is not some tyrant pushed upon us.
I think the reality is the
chose.
United States is very divided and pretty much right down the middle.
No, that's
yeah.
Donald Trump. President Trump
country.
won the vast majority of the vote. Rick.
That's
not
a
true.
broad-
That's not true. That's not true. Even in Democrat,
New caller.
Hold on, let me say something. Even in Democrat-controlled states, the vast majority of people likely support Trump. California, do you know why the Democrats control everything in California? It's rigged.
Of course.
It's rigged.
I knew we were going
vast
there.
Majority of people in Canada
new caller.
they support Donald Trump.
New caller. Who's on the line? Go ahead. Your turn. Hello. Do we not have a new? Did somebody dropped off? Maybe the new caller dropped off.
Yeah, I think it was the new caller.
Oh, well, that's unfortunate.
If the vast majority people voted for Trump, why are so many people up in arms now with what he's doing? Why do we see all the protests against Donald Trump? And I'm not going to call him president. I'm going to call him what I want to call him because I'm Canadian. The same way I call Mark
For
Carney.
whatever reason on Rick's channel. Vast majority of Americans support what Donald Trump is doing. I support what President Trump is doing.
Okay, I think we have the new. Okay, everybody's pause. Everybody pause.
Rick's show is a bunch of lies.
Wow. Okay.
Now I don't know if Rick is doing it on purpose or if he really thinks that way. But Rick's show is showing you a distorted version of America. I'm showing you the real version of America. America, the vast majority of Americans, even in Democrat
I will
states,
mute
support
you.
Donald
I will
Trump.
mute you if you don't give the floor to the new caller.
We're trying to finish a sentence. You
don't
mute anyone.
I'm telling you,
your lies, Rick.
Pause and give the floor to the new caller, please. Go ahead. Who's on the line with us now?
Hi, Rick. It's Maureen.
Hello, Maureen. Welcome back.
Booze.
Go ahead.
Yeah. Oh, and to the caller, John from America, did he see any of, the other day, Liberation Day? What did they call it? 50-51? 50 protests in 50 states for one day?
Mm-hmm.
And the majority of Americans are with Trump?
The majority?
Protest? They were insane.
Yeah, huge crowds.
And there was not a majority protesting. It was a few communists.
You have a
No,
headstone?
majority were not protesting.
You have a headstone?
Just because somebody opposes the policies of President Trump doesn't mean they're a communist. And I'll say this, John. If we are a sovereign, and I'll say this, we are a sovereign nation, and as a sovereign nation here in Canada, it's up to Canadians to decide what kind of government we elect. And you guys, you should keep your, keep your influence out of our country, frankly.
But hold on, I need to make a point. The vast majority of Americans were not protesting Donald Trump. If you guys think that, whether you think it because you're lying or you think it because you're just wrong, if you're wrong, let me educate you. The vast majority of Americans were not protesting Donald Trump. Just because some people were and they made headlines does not mean the vast majority of people were protesting President Trump. They were not.
There's an awful lot
the vast
of people
majority of
with
Americans
Bernie
support
Sanders.
President Trump's policies.
So, John, did you do a head count? Probably not.
I know. I'm an American. I know who's protesting. There's protests in my city where I'm at. Do you think a majority of people in my city were protesting? The majority of people in my city support President Trump. You are wrong. Hold on. I can get a video of 20 people and make it look like it's the vast majority of people. That doesn't mean it's the case. The vast majority of people do not.
You need to stop talking over everybody
support President
because
Trump.
the chat is not accepting it.
He has to talk over everybody. He won't let anybody else talk.
Yeah, can I finish, please?
Yeah, please, Maureen, go ahead. And John, you don't say a word until she's done, please. Go ahead, Maureen.
I've been saying a word for a long time.
Go ahead, Maureen.
Breathe. Everybody just breathe. Anyway, and a lot of those protesters were hanging the American flag upside down, and that's disrespectful. I think this John from America is kissing Trump's ring, and more than
your audio is distorted, Maureen. You might want to adjust the way you're speaking into the microphone, maybe. It's hard to understand you.
Yeah, okay. Take it off speaker. But yeah, I think John the caller is kissing Trump's ring.
Yeah. Is John still there? Do you want to respond to that, John, or did you sign off? I think he left.
Okay, I'm getting back to the chat.
Stuck
on that, John.
Go. Just give us a final thought there, then, Linda, before you take off.
Everybody has to watch carefully what they listen to. Not everything is what you believe it to be. It's all smoke and mirrors. You're all being duped. You need to pay attention to what the real thing is and what is important. And voting matters.
It sure does.
Totally. I agree with that.
Yeah.
Yeah, me too.
Yeah.
Have a good night, everybody.
Thank you,
I'm
Linda.
back in the chat.
Okay.
You're welcome.
Okay.
Thank you.
Wow. Well, that got a little heated there for a while, guys.
Well, I just like the fact that he wants to make a point, yes. But you don't come on a program like this and start name calling and putting people down because we have an opinion. Again, we cannot agree to disagree. It's either one way or it's not. And it's always, I have friends in the States. I was a big biker. We used to do the Gold Wing rallies all the time. Michigan, Nashville, whatever. You were always accepted. But what we've been hearing now from people that are actually coming back from Florida who don't want to go back down there because of the way they were treated. And it's all because of Donald Trump.
Yep.
Like this is, and he comes on here and he starts calling us communists in our little country. Well, maybe he better look at a map because our little country's way bigger than his little country. We have more land mass.
And for
Like, what school did he go to?
I'll tell you this, Canada, we're the most popular girl at the dance right now.
Yes, we are.
Everybody wants us. China wants us. The United States wants us. I think Russia even has a bit of an interest in us, especially in our north. Europe wants our resources. So John can sit there and say that he doesn't need us, but yeah, you kind of do. You need us for, if no other reason, our geographic location, because we provide a natural buffer against Russia. We're there with our geography, providing security for the United States through cooperation and by being an ally through NORAD, so that you have your radar installations up there with us, so that if any nukes are launched or any Russian bombers start heading your way, they have to cross over our airspace first. And we let you know, because we work with you. And
you made a
you
point.
kind of do need us. And we kind of do sort of need you too. And so it would be a lot better if we would just continue to get along. And it seemed like we had been getting along real well for quite a long time until just now.
Yeah.
You know, Rick, you made a good point.
And I hate to say it, but he came across like a loudmouth American. I'm sorry.
Go ahead there,
It's okay.
Dragon.
Well, just a good point, real quick. If you look into the map and how we are rated as the most difficult country to invade, we're fourth on the top list. Because, first of all, you got to go through horrible weather on one side if you want to invade us from there, because it's harsh, cold, like you never have seen before, like Siberian cold. And then you got the other side. Well, you got to step probably on the US to get through us. And well, yeah, that's like if Russia or China want to invade, that's what they have to do. Yeah. So it's kind of hard for them to go through all that. And I mean, even if Russia is good in harsh temperatures, I don't think they will last long with, say, our guerrilla tactics that we have. Just saying.
Well, I hope it never comes to that. And John, you don't want to invade us because it's just way too cold up here, man. Just let us take care of it for you. That's what we were doing. Yeah. We were doing you a service. We were just tending to the Arctic and all the igloos that we live in up here. And, we should have just left well enough alone, and we wouldn't have been booing any national anthems anywhere. But look what you gone and done now.
You poked the beaver.
That's right.
Don't poke the beaver.
See, John's got to come up here. We have to take him to Ottawa, and we have to have a beaver tail party and show him what a beaver tail is. Do you know what a beaver tail is? Anybody know?
I love them.
Do you? Yeah. They're like a donut thing, John. And
it's like a big flat fritter.
We'll make you an honorary Canuckistanian. You come on up here. You're still welcome, even though you don't like us no more. We still love you. I'm going to prove it at the end of the show how much I love America. I'm going to prove it.
Good old fried dough with some maple syrup. Mwah. You cannot have better than that.
Yeah. We'll show you what Canadian culture is all about, John. You come on up. We'll get you some beaver tails, some maple syrup. We'll take you ice skating on the Rideau Canal. You have to come in the middle of the winter, though. Yeah. Sorry, what was that?
Rides and and maple syrup on the snow at the sugar shack.
Yes, that's right.
Oh man.
Yeah, we'll get some Canuckistanian type music queued up for him. Maybe some Stompin' Tom Connors and I don't know what other Canadian kinds of music should we make John listen to make his ears bleed.
Oh, we got to get the guys from out east.
Yeah,
the fiddlers from out
get
east.
Those fiddlers out here. Yeah.
We'll get them some snowshoes and.
Yep.
We'll take them through the bush for a little trip. We'll introduce them to those wild beavers and those black bears.
Yeah, and then we'll send them home with really high cholesterol count after filling them full of poutine.
There you go. Poutine and tortilla.
Yeah, we haven't even gotten into hockey yet, but you guys, you're pretty good at hockey now too, so you kind of relate to that. Yeah.
No, she made a good point. He needs to be introduced to Putin. That's it. There's a for sure thing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And cheese curds.
Yeah.
From St. Albert.
A brick of it.
Don't forget the crinkle fries.
Yes.
Yeah, gotta have crinkle cut fries, man.
Gotta have crinkle cut fries.
Thing too. You all know that. Yeah, you know that I gotta have my crinkle cut French fries.
Did they go up in price, Rick?
I'm sorry, what's that?
Did they go up in price? Did you notice the price of them?
I haven't purchased. I bought a whole bunch there a while back when I got to stock up a little bit because they had them in stock, so I stocked up. But I did notice at the grocery store this week the prices went up on just about everything. Like $1 here, $1 there, $2 there, $2 there. Not like a lot, but enough to notice. Like fish, packages of haddock fish that were $15.99 now $16.99. Just stuff like that.
Oh well, you gotta buy the frozen fillets. Don't buy the ones already in the box. The frozen fillets.
Oh no, that's what I buy. I buy the haddock fillets. Yeah, the fillets. Yeah. Somebody's back
and they
on the
were
line.
that much.
Oh yeah.
You know
but
what
it's a fairly
I found
big
out?
bag, mind you. But
I found out Sobeys in London sell Jersey milk in glass bottles.
No kidding. Oh,
I'm
I
going
wish
back
I
to
could get
glass
that.
bottles.
Yeah, see, we've got milk in bags, and in here in Ontario, and I don't like it. I don't like the bags.
That's what I have. I'm in Glencoe, so you got to buy them in the plastic.
Yeah.
But my grandson's girlfriend was telling me Sobeys in London sells them in the glass bottles, and if you return the bottle, you get a refund.
Yeah. Who's on the line? Somebody just called in again.
We have poutine in America. I hate to break it to you, but thousands of French Canadians came to America. We have poutine. We have winter. We have everything that you have. God bless America. And Canada, if you know what's best for you, vote for Poilievre. Even though I can't say his name, vote for him. And America first. God bless President Trump. God bless America. Gulf of America.
Oh, Canada, our home and native land.
Oh my God.
It's Poilievre, and there's only in Quebec that we can say it correctly.
That's right. He's doing really well for a guy whose name nobody can pronounce. I gotta say that.
Poilievre. Pierre Poilievre.
Yeah.
That's what they call jag meat. The Americans call them jug meat. They can't even get that right.
I know. It's funny.
I still call him dog meat.
Man.
I mean,
You call him Jughead.
All right, guys. Since we had that outpouring of U.S. patriotism, I think it's time now to kind of bring things to a close. So let's go around the horn, and we'll close off with Dragon and our French Canadian Donald Trump to close off with. But who wants to go first with final thoughts tonight?
I'll go first. Even though we had our southern neighbor, excuse me. I still like the States. I still have friends in the States, but Canada is the best. And people who come on here and call us names, it's not very nice if they want to be friends.
Yeah, well, I wish we could be friends again because this sucks.
Yeah.
This whole thing sucks.
Oh, well.
All right.
I'll just keep making more elbows up, Rick. That's all.
Yeah, that's right. I got to get my mug back down here. I have it upstairs. I'm going to bring it back.
I'll take one of your t-shirts, Isabel.
Hey, no problem. Email me your address.
Yeah. Okay,
yeah,
go.
I would take one. Or a hoodie even. I live in northern British Columbia, so we like our hoodies.
Okay, so just look on Bubble Gifts on Facebook. Contact me, give me your size and color, and we'll get her done.
Sounds, yeah, that's all. Thank you.
Is
You're welcome.
Is Get Her Done a Canadian thing, or is that a an American thing?
Get Her Done. That came from Larry the Cable Guy.
Oh, that's an American
said that.
thing.
Yeah, Get Her
American.
Done.
My son says it because he's a redneck.
Sounds kind of Canadian, but no, yeah, you're right.
Hey?
That's American
Hey?
redneck. That's not Canadian. You just Canadian. I just go Get Her Done. See?
Redneck Canadian.
There's Canadian culture for you. Okay, Dragon. I think we're ready. Go get your friend there and bring him on over.
Well, what can I tell you? There's something wrong here. And I cannot put the finger on it, but it's okay because I'm going to get some gravy and some good poutine, and I'm going to enjoy the night. And don't worry, I got some big ideas. It's going to be so huge, so humongous. And, it's going to be big. And you're going to see like the Nebuchadnezzar golden statue in Gaza of me, but careful. We ain't gonna make it too big because the gods ain't gonna like it. So careful to our Christian friends, right? So have a good night. Stay positive. People love you.
All right, and I think I've got the right song queued up here, and this is from Maverick and the News Brothers, and I wrote the lyrics. This is Bringing Back America, and just the fact that we created this right here as another Maverick and the News Brothers original, it proves that we actually love America. I've been sitting here singing the praises of America for years and even before. So yeah, we do love America. I just don't like what's going on right now because it's too self-destructive, and in the end, we all end up suffering. Doesn't have to be like this, man. And these tariffs are not the answer. They are quite the opposite. So let's get back to something normal if we can. And yeah, we'll always be friends, Americans and Canadians, regardless of who's in the White House or who is in power on Parliament Hill, because the people are the people, and we've been friends and allies for a long, long time. We just have to get back to that. And with that, let's bring back America. I'll see you back here tomorrow night, 7 p.m. Eastern, everybody.
On the flip side.
On the flip side.
Down in the heart of Dixie, where the rivers meet the land, there's a whisper on the wind, a call to take a stand. We're rolling out of town with our boots up on the floor, searching for the freedom that we've been longing for. We're riding on the open road with the stars as a guide, restoring pride in America with every mile we ride. From the mountains to the prairies to the oceans, while we fall, we're saving America, bringing freedom back home. Got my guitar in the back and a flag flying high. We're singing songs of glory under the big old sky. From the south to the north, from the east to the west, we're on a mission to put our nation to the test. We're riding on the open road with the stars as a guide, restoring pride in America with every mile we ride. From the mountains to the prairies to the oceans, while we fall, we're saving America, bringing freedom back home. There's a fire in our hearts, a flame that won't die. We're the sons and daughters of the red, white, and sky. With every mile we travel, with our boots up on the floor, we're healing the land and making freedom ring. We've seen the cities, we felt the country's pain, but we're not giving up, we've got so much to gain. With our hands on the wheel and our eyes on the prize, we're gonna lift this nation back to the skies. We're riding on the open road with the stars as a guide, restoring pride in America with every mile we ride. From the mountains to the prairies to the oceans, while we fall, we're saving to the fight for the land of the free and the home of the light. With our boots on the ground and our hearts in the sky, we'll keep on rolling till freedom never dies. To the journey, here's to the fight for the land of the free and the home of the light. With our boots on the ground and our hearts in the sky, we'll keep on rolling till freedom never dies. We're riding on the open road with the stars as our guide, restoring pride in America with every mile we ride. From the mountains to the prairies to the oceans wide with foam, we're saving America, bringing freedom back home. We're healing never dies, we're healing never dies.
This has been a Maverick Multimedia production.